G'day, Tragic here, and welcome to my latest mod. And this one's for Pathfinder, the adventure card game, and it is for Wrath of the Righteous, which gets a lot of hate, but I actually really like it, hence why I made the mod. Now this is a bit unusual for my mods because this is not for public release. I just made this to play on the channel with you guys, and I'll make it available to anybody from the channel who friends me. Anyone who friends me or who I know of from the channel, I'll accept the friend invite and you can download it that way. But in general, this isn't going to be an in general release. And to that end, it's not 100% complete like my other mods because there's so much content. I've just done the stuff that I will need for the playthrough. But it's pretty cool, and let's just walk through how to use it. And while I do this walkthrough, it also set up the first turn for our playthrough. So let's get onto it. Basically, you start like this. You got your player boards, and the first thing you probably want to do is here's your servitor table. So you got your servitors for the quest. Now we're going to do Into the World Wound, and the actual table is completely set up to start that quest straight away. So all we need to do is place the Godless Ones, which is the first quest of Into the World Wound, and stick that over here, and also grab the Demoling and stick that over here where the Servitor Demon table is. Okay, now once we do that, we need to select our characters. So the characters are over here, and I have included all the class decks for Wrath of the Righteous. Now all the content pretty much is taken from other mods because, you know, I just wanted to make my own version of the table to play it. So this is all content that's already out there. I don't own any of the class decks. I've got a couple of promos and the add-on deck plus the set. But I didn't do any private scans, so the cards aren't quite as good a quality as my other mods. But anyway, forget all that. Where was I? This is the other adventures, and I haven't gone through them and made sure they're all 100% ready to go for this mod, but all the content is in there. And the top ones in the grey bags are the default ones that come in the set, the default characters. The green ones are the ones from the character add-on set, and the purple ones are the promo characters. Now, Elki, Tup, and Radenzak, or whatever, they're actually from different sets. The one from Wrath is Elki, is Eki or whatever. And the way it works is each set has one promo character in addition to all the class decks. And this promo character is designed to be used in any box set. So normally you can't or you shouldn't bring characters from other sets into this, but the promo characters are supposed to be used in any box set, so they've been added here. And over here we've got all the characters, all 11 of them, with none of the promos in there for random. Let's actually chuck in Eki just for fun, and we'll do a random select. What have we got? Yablam, yablam. Oh, no greens. Oh, there's a green. There's a green. 333. Okay, so Eki didn't get chosen, unfortunately, but whatever. So just come down and put them in the same order. So once you've got them on the table, just drag them out like so. And there's quite a lot of stuff in this bag. This is a technique that I use for the coming Arkham Horror mod that I'm making. For those of you who don't know, I'm making an Arkham Horror mod for this thing called the Arkham Horror League project, which has been running for like a long time. And the League project is a number of fan-made scenarios for Arkham Horror that you can't get anywhere else. They're custom scenarios, custom monsters, custom goos, custom setups, and people played for points. So it was a very, very awesome thing that I used to love doing, but people kind of stopped doing it, and I'm going to build the League files for Arkham Horror, and that's incoming, but it's quite a lot of work, so I don't know when it's going to happen. and then I'm going to run league events and stuff. Okay, so once you've got your character sheet set up, you don't need to lock them or anything. There's these buttons to actually build the decks, but make sure you don't click them until you set up the decks. Now these are set up perfectly for the initial scenario B, but if you're using the character add-on decks or you're playing with 6 players, you have to actually add in the add-on pack. So we're just going to quickly do that now. Now the add-on pack is split into a couple of sections. Each deck just goes on each other deck, but there's also a big bag at the end, and this bag is just the basic cards from the add-on expansion. And that's because any card that doesn't have the word basic, you can't put into a starting deck if you're going to manually build your deck. So it's just separated to make it a bit easier to use. So let's add all these cards to their respective locations. And we're also going to add in the basic cards, obviously. You absolutely have to add at least the basic ones if you're going to be using the green bags, because of often the green, like for example, this weapon is part of the default deck for Anduin. So you've kind of got to have it, otherwise you can't build the deck. And also, when you open the expansion, you also get these extra monster cards, which you should probably add as well. That's for the extra players and all that kind of stuff. Now, once you have that set up, there's also the promo cards. Now, these are all the promos that came out. And again, remember, I didn't really scan these cards. Some of these are really shockingly scanned. I think they're taken from, people taking photos of the promos on their phones or something. But I'm not going to add these in because I don't own those particular cards myself. So they're not going to be added in. But I will actually add in Sweet Dragon Costume, because I actually do own this particular card. So we are going to put the dragon costume in. Nice. That's the only promo we're going to use. Also in here, which is quite interesting, remember I didn't make these decks. This is the iconic heroes cards. Now, when you buy the physical Pathfinder miniatures, you get Pathfinder cards for them. They're rated item P, like this is an item P, so it can go into the base scenario. And what these are cool, these are just normal items, but what's interesting about them is, see how they say Owner Viralos or whatever? That means you can use it as a basic card for those particular characters. Now, we have a number of characters that will have matching cards, but some of these cards are shockingly scanned, and I just can't bring myself to use them because they look so bad. I can look at this one. This one is Anduin, which I think we're playing with. Yeah, so that's her here, right? I just don't want to see this card every time we play. So I'm not going to use any of the iconic hero cards either. Also because I don't actually own them. And part of my thing with Tabletop Simulator is I just use what I've got. Okay, so once you have all the cards set up, you can then click these buttons to build the default decks as listed over here. Remember, if you're using the green guys, you have to actually use the character add-on deck. So yeah, so just click the Fetch Player Decks and it will build the decks for you. If you want to do your deck manually, just hit the manual one and it'll just delete the button. Also, this button needs to be placed somewhere on the player board which you're going to be using. Otherwise, it won't work, because it uses the player board's location to set where to put the deck, like so. Okay, so that is that. So once that is all done and we've got our decks built, we can now actually construct our locations. And again, I've set up for the base set already. So we just come over here, click shuffle a bunch of times, and I've already picked out the locations for the first quest. And all you need to do is click on the location, and then you click on the number. I like it on 1, and then you just add them. So this is 1 monster, 1 barrier. So you just go 1 monster, 1 barrier, and it's 2 spells, and 1 armor, 1 item, 1 ally, 1 armor, 1 item, 1 ally, and 2 blessings. Yeah, bam, bam. And it just puts it up here where the locations are. Let's just lock that down. And that's pretty much that. So I'm just going to go through and create these decks now. Oh, just make sure when you're doing it, you've got to go back and select the correct location, or it'll just put the cards on top of the cards you just picked. This little section of the mod is actually taken from a public mod called the Pathfinder Deck Builder or something. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'll have the link on the description of this mod's page. But yeah, so it's a little bit confusing sometimes. You've got to make sure you select the new location each time. So this one is location 2. So we have 1 barrier. We have 2 weapons. We have 1 spell. We have 1 armor, 2 items, and 2 allies. And as you can see, it just puts them, up on the board. Okay, so I'll just go through this and, get it all set up. Okay, so there's a good example of what happens if you don't, if you don't put it on the right location. Luckily, we know that's only 9 cards, so we'll just drag off those 9 cards. Okay, let's go back. Okay, and finally, once you have everything set up with the locations, just click the Create Blessing Deck, and that'll create the blessing deck. I'll give it a shuffle again, and just go bam. And it creates the blessing deck. So this has done a few things. The blessing deck is here. It's nice and big for visually appealing. Also, all the pieces are colored the same color as your dice. And I've also, all these player sheets are kind of flattened down into the ground to match, so they don't interrupt dice rolling. And talking about dice rolling, you just, so you need 2 d4s and a d10, and we get +3. You just hit roll, and it'll roll it for you. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, bam. You can reset it by hitting the X, and it resets the dice automatically each time you hit the roll button. So it sets it back to 1. So I need a d10 this time. I can just hit roll, and it will clear off the other dice on the table. And that is pretty much the whole game. There's a spawn servitor button, and that is why we place the servitor, which in this case is the demoling, up over here near the servitor demon table. So when you're asked to spawn, you just click spawn, and that will come the demoling. And also, when you want to advance, just hit the advance blessing deck, and it will, let me turn on the chat window. It'll advance the blessing deck, and it'll also tell you the name of the blessing that was drawn, as well as its effect, and also what turn it is. And that just helps you, work out what's going on. And finally, we have the mythic charge markers, and you've got your level up markers here. And that is the mod ready to go. And we are also, funnily enough, set up for our first turn. Oh, one more thing. Basically, let me just spawn a few servitors. Basically, there is a deck zone for each of these places where you can put them into your deck, or for people that like to play open-handed, you can actually drag it, just have everything live on the table like this, which is how I'll probably play when I'm playing online. And that is pretty much it. And again, if you are playing multiplayer solo, or if you're playing open-handed and you want to, still use the deck zones, you just go to Options, Hands, and hit Disable. And they'll make them more visible. And that is that. What I forgot to do is actually put in the monsters. So this one uses Safrini and Blackfire Adept, Custer Demon, and the Cultist of Baphomet. So we need Safrini, Blackfire Adept, Custer Demon, and 3, and a whole bunch of these. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just grab that. Do the shuffle. Okay. And then we shuffle these. And now we're ready to go. Okay, sweet. Pathfinder, Wrath of the Rune Lords. And we are ready for turn 1. See you guys next time.